Hi, and welcome to 30 Second Success Connect, where we introduce entrepreneurs and professionals who love to connect and lead with their hearts. I'm Laura Templeton, founder and CEO of 30 Second Success, and with me today is my good friend, Jaime Picozzi, the president of HumanTeq. HumanTeq was born out of 20 years experience in the IT space. They look for the techies that stand out, that help drive and shape change along with organizations bold enough to fit them into their culture. At HumanTeq, they offer custom solutions to staff augmentation and direct placement needs. Using technology, data, and the power of honest conversations, they provide humans that are the right fit for your role, your culture, and relationships you value. Welcome, Jaime. It is such a pleasure to have you here with me. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I love connecting with you. You and I have had some really cool opportunities to meet with some really great people and just spend time together. So it's been a lot of fun. So let's share with the audience how we know each other.
So I did something similar on a show with my friend Ashley Owens, and you had seen that show and reached out to me and said, hey, let's connect, and we kind of hit it right off. So we started doing some networking together, and then we had the pleasure of seeing each other at women's networking lunches, different chamber events. So it's really been a great relationship in the making for a few years now.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's so amazing to me. And I think that was one of the things that impressed me the most was like, I saw you on Ashley Owens. I think it's called the Success Connect.
Connect to Success, yep.
Yep, Connect to Success. I always say that backwards, I don't know why. But, you know, and I love her and what she does. And when she interviewed you, it was like, I was just drawn to your personality. And it's like, you know how there are certain people in your network that it's just, you just gravitate to. And I think that was what led me to reach out. And I'm so glad that I did, because we've had some really great conversations, and you've actually even helped my family along the way, and which is kind of cool. So it's been pretty exciting to see. And you know what, when we first met, you were with a different company. So
I was.
Share with me how the whole HumanTeq thing came about. Oh, and by the way, it's human, Humon.
Yes.
Right? HumanTeq.
Yeah.
EQ. So it's kind of different, which is kind of cool. So
I will admit that there is a reason for it, but the A was taken. Okay, so we're going to put that yes, it was taken. But the O is really, honestly, at the end of the day, it's not just a male or female thing anymore. But I wanted all the folks that work with us to feel the same. And I really just didn't want to go through that man, woman type of conversation, because I believe that the fit goes beyond that. And the tech part is fun to throw in with the humans, because that's really what we're doing. Our business is, human capital. So it makes it a really interesting workspace. But yeah, at the beginning, the A was absolutely taken. So we got it.
You know what? So talk a little bit about how HumanTeq came about, because I think it's kind of like a really cool story about how your network got you started on a new path, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was with a company called J2 Solutions in King of Prussia. Vijay and Sanjay Katanani are the owners of that company, and it was great. I loved working with them. Really learned a lot. Got my first experience into the space, where I'd come from a banking industry and a sales space, moving into and taking all of those skills and working together to move forward in this new space. Really kind of made it interesting for me and something that I really got passionate about. As I was kind of out there doing the networking for J2, building relationships, I'd always talked about, hey, I'd love to have a women-owned division, or hey, it'd be really cool to start a company and see, what I could do in the space and just combat some of our industry issues, for lack of better words. And along the way, I got a tap on the shoulder from the gentleman, one of the guys who runs a networking group that I'm in called the Philadelphia Masterminds. Reached out to me. I connected him the night before, actually, with someone who needed snap help. And the two companies, synergy, perfect. We called and he said, tell me everything I need to know about this guy in the next 5 minutes, because I got a call with him. So we went through that, and he said, I know that you're not dumb enough to hang up the phone on me until I'm done talking. Laura, I thought I was getting kicked out of masterminds. I was like, what did I do? I was like, oh no, that's the first thing that went through my head. I was like, crap, I'm done for. And here he says to me, what if I told you I know two people who want to start a staffing firm? They want to pay for the company, put in the equity it takes, get everything kind of started. They just want someone to run it. They're very successful businesses on their own, needed some staffing as well. So it was kind of a mixed idea for them. And when I met with these folks, I said, why? Like, what is this? Who does this? Who does this for somebody? And they said, we just want to give back. We've been successful. We're blessed. The houses are paid for. The kids' school is paid for forever, and we're good to go. And this is what we want to do to give back. So it was really, they came to this person to say, hey, who from your network do you think would do good by us? And would make this something that we would be proud of. And it was me that he thought of. So it was really, really awesome. So I told him someday when I call and I say, pack you and your wife for 10 days and show up at the tarmac, no questions asked. I said, just show up. Because that's the only way I'm ever going to be able to thank you is someday when HumanTeq is a multi-million-dollar company, we'll just go away.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've had the privilege to really build something very unique in that space that you've been wanting to do for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And talk a little bit more about how you're like networking queen. Like it was one of those, you got to know Jaime Picozzi, and Jaime knows everybody, right? As a matter of fact, I think earlier, before we even started this recording, you said to me, oh, you need to know this person.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how important networking is to you, to your success, to your business.
Sure. So I do not like cold calling. It is not in me. I can do it, and I can do it with the best of them. I've had some great teachers, but it feels gross to me. It's just not in my personality I don't know how better to put it. So networking for me has to be the way that I get in front of new clients. But for me, it's enjoyable. It's evolved for me beyond the point where I am out on a business seeking mission. Now I am out meeting new friends and acquaintances, colleagues, people that will be there. For example, I'm a part of Jersey Man, Philly Man. I'm an ambassador for the program and a Legacy Club member. And I love that group dearly. They've been with me through 3 jobs now, including starting my own company. And I owe almost all the success to the folks from that group of my masterminds group. To have a group of people that you can really call on when it matters most, to say, hey, I need a hand or I need an introduction, but moreover, for them to trust that I will take care of that introduction, that I will be the person that then in turn helps that introduction out, because that's what I love to do. That's really important. So that networking piece has become, it's almost fun now. We see a ton of friends. My husband is like the best networking wingman ever. Everybody loves him. He's 6'5", so I can't lose him. So it makes it really easy. Anybody's like, oh, where's Jaime? Oh, scan the room, find Jim, there's Jaime. It's really a great feeling to be in that space. And I've really, being able to just see those people, and, networking can be tough and it's exhausting even when you love it. So for me to have a network that gets who I really am, and not just that, hi, I'm Jaime Picozzi from HumanTech. That part is awesome. And, they've come to me and be like, I can see it in your eyes. Like, you're smiling, but you're not here today. Like, are you all right? What's going on? What are you stressed about? So that is where networking has changed everything I do. Because now I'm talking to friends or, good acquaintances about, hey, here's what I'm struggling with. And like, hey, somebody else was just talking about that. Let me connect you. And then the business it opens up. It just comes from that place.
That's beautiful. And I love the fact that you share about how it becomes those personal connections. It goes deeper. When you're really invested in your network, it really does go a lot deeper and you're able to open up to people. And like you said, they see it in your face. Sometimes, when you're bouncing off the wall with something really exciting, they want to know what it is. And when you're not bouncing off the wall with something exciting, they want to make sure you're okay. And there's a lot to be said for the people that invest their time.
Yeah.
And I think that's so beautifully put, because you do invest a lot of time in your networking, but like you said, that's where you feel most comfortable in growing your business.
Yeah.
And I love that. You touched a little bit on masterminds. So, and I think that a lot of people are missing out on the benefits of mastermind. Mastermind is one of the most amazing things, ways that I've built my business. But a lot of masterminds have come out of the networking that I do. So share a little bit about your mastermind, like what you see as the benefit. Have you been with a mastermind for a long term? Share a little bit about that.
Sure. So Philadelphia Mastermind was started by Matt Blatz and Steve Goodman. Really amazing individuals that kind of handpicked our group, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
We are industry specific, although most of us are tech companies, which is hysterical. But we all have a specific place that we kind of play in, and it's really great because we can build off of each other when it comes to tackling sales or working on leads. But masterminds is really, they're kind of my everything. So it's been really tough through this COVID situation, as it has for everybody. But I had a low point, just happened to be masterminds meeting night, and they rallied behind me. They sent me and my family dinner. It was amazing. It was amazing. But that was what I needed to kind of, okay, put your thumb in your mouth for a day, sleep in a corner, get back up, and tomorrow you're back at it. But that group, the introductions and the understanding of one another in a space where we can truly share, like, hey, you can put your hand up and just be like, this is awful. And here's where I'm at. I need help with that. And we've seen in our group, just as a whole, we've had 4 or 5 promotions. I've started my own company. Just people have really kind of rallied together to make sure that we're all moving forward, but we're all benefiting not only ourselves in that group, but all those that are in our network, because now we have these trusted advisors. We have these trusted business partners that I can say, hey, this customer is going to be tricky and they're picky and they want this, that, and the other. And if you even mention the word cloud, they're never going to speak to you again. But being able to do that for somebody is priceless. And being on the receiving end of that, I mean, the Philadelphia Masterminds, I'm pretty sure, has grown the first leg of my business for the first, 6 months I was in business. Just because they understood me, they understood what I was trying to do in the space and how I wanted to get there.
And there's a lot to be said when you're spending time with people that are invested in you. And I see that in masterminds. Yes, networking and connecting with people, you have an opportunity to really, that there's more nurturing that goes on and it takes a little bit longer, but in a mastermind, there's more of an immersion.
Yep.
And I feel like there are people that are almost like handpicked to be together. Yeah. And to really benefit one another. And I think it's such a benefit when you're actually part of a mastermind and there's so much growth that you experience in those settings that it really is a unique opportunity to help one another out. And again, it's being part of that giving spirit.
Yeah. And that's the biggest. Yeah. We talk about that, we have a couple of seats open and we talk about it all the time as to, we're not just bringing a new industry in or a new company in, but we want somebody who's going to not only benefit from our networks, which is really interesting to hear the entire group be like, well, we got to make sure this person's going to get something out of it too. Usually you would think it would be the other way around. Right. But that's, we're just looking for that mutual benefit where we can share and open our networks in a space that's really going to help that person and propel them forward. And then hopefully they will reciprocate and help us, same way. So.
Right. That's awesome. And you're absolutely right. It is. It goes both ways. Most of the time when you're looking at it from the perspective of how am I going to help this person rather than what am I going to get from them, it really, it changes how you approach people. It really does. You know, that it's, you know, we talk about it all the time. It's having that part of service that just really benefits everyone in the group, even yourself. You know, so there's magic that happens in that space, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. So share a little bit about, and yeah, I know you're not you're more of an in-person networker. Do you do a lot of networking through your social media platforms, or do you prefer to be in person? I know this current situation, except, you know, with this exception of this.
So I'm one of those people that doesn't love the sound of my own voice. Funny enough, even though I talk all the time. So I really do like in person. I like being able to read people, a little bit of an over empath sometimes, but I like to, it's not doing it for you, or the conversation's good, but we're kind of done. I'm okay saying thank you. It was a pleasure, and please, you know, anything I can do. But I think sometimes on the virtual platforms, even though it is personal, it just kind of, there's so much that seems to get lost in translation still. But I'm getting there. So I've been talking, you know, a lot about, I'm a Gary Vee fan. I love him. But I've been talking a lot, even to myself, about TikTok, and I do have an Instagram, I do have a Twitter, and it's just interesting. It's very hard for me to kind of separate in my brain what's Jaime Picozzi and what's HumanTeq. I've been talking to a lot of experts in that space to kind of see what makes sense to come through the social media platforms. And I think that I've kind of settled on me, because it's still human capital is so much in what I do. But that's kind of been an interesting, not battle, but something that I've been tackling maybe for too long, who knows. But this time it makes it easier to be on a Zoom meeting and network with somebody face to face, as opposed to just being on a phone call. You can still see their level of interest. You can see their facial expressions. But for me, I am definitely like, I can't wait till we can get back together in person and just sit and chit chat, and it just changes that dynamic. And some people say, you know, even the sales process. So for me, when I get in front of people face to face, that sales process is different for me. I'm a much better close, if you wanted to talk like sales terminology. When I get in front of people, then when I don't know what that is, but so it changes my mind sometimes on what I want to do and how I want to approach that networking space.
Yeah, and you know, I think some of that too, and you know, because I'm very much like you. I love meeting people. I love being out. I love meeting people. My husband half the time is trying to figure out where I'm going next, because we both work from home. But I think it's the energy. I think that the energy that I get in the room, you know, sometimes it can be a little like overwhelming, but and you know, then I kind of like have to extract myself and collect myself. But it, you know, it really is, I feed off the energy of the other people. And when everybody's excited to be there and meet one another, and you can tell that they're totally engaged in the conversation. There's cues that you receive without even anything being said. You know, it's really interesting. So yeah, it is interesting to have that in-person networking as opposed to online. And virtual gives us a great opportunity.
It does.
To connect with people across the world. I mean, I was on a virtual call, and there was a woman from Paris, and a woman from Norway, and a woman from some other place. And I was blown away. I'm like, I'm talking to people in Paris, France. I'm like, how is that possible? But you know, but at the end of the day, there's still something to be said for that that physical contact that you get, even if it's just a smile and a, you know, a brief, now it's, you know, instead of handshakes,
elbow bumps.
You know, the bumps. But I think there's a lot to be said for that. And,
I agree.
And it's interesting. So it'll be exciting to see, to get back to that. And yeah, definitely looking forward to reconnecting. So are you working on any major projects right now with HumanTeq, or is it kind of right now it's just in that, ebb and flow stage of what's going on? Or, when you get back to things, is there anything big that you're working on, or?
So I'm not working so much on projects for HumanTeq. It's more of just some things that I've learned along the way. So being 18 months in and facing a global pandemic was never something I imagined.
New lessons to learn from that.
Yeah. So that's been fun. I'm ready now, though. Like, I got this. So those things I've been kind of cleaning up, just some stuff that that for me, that first set of documentation for welcome emails and new hire packets, and even some of my contracts and NDAs, just things that I put in place and made sure were sound, but I didn't love. Some of it wasn't even that awesomely written for my favor. Just working on cleaning up some of that and taking that time. Outside of that, I'm really just kind of taking a look at what's going on in our space today. Where are we struggling? Why I've done my job pretty much remotely since I started the company. So outside of networking meetings and local in-person meetings with hiring managers, some of my clients' headquarters are in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I've never seen them. It's completely just all by phone. So when you're talking with those folks, the fact that my business is even slowed a little is interesting to me. I know some of the reasons and some of the pitfalls, with hiring managers and wanting that face-to-face. Kind of similar to where networking, you can really read that vibe. A lot of companies are still really passionate about seeing their folks prior to starting. In the tech space, unfortunately, today, there are too many times that you can kind of get the wool pulled over your eyes in that interview process prior to that person starting. So that's kind of something that on the side I'm taking a look at and just saying, hey, how can I help my clients and future clients feel more comfortable with this being their new hiring norm? How to get past this, okay, well, we have the budget and we're in a space, maybe we're in healthcare, maybe we're in a space where it is deemed essential in something like a global pandemic. Why can't we hire? Why can't we move forward? So that's something that I'm taking a look at, and hopefully nothing like this will come up again in my lifetime, but should it, or even as we move into maybe the middle of the summer, the end of next year, there'll be a way to start helping these folks feel more confident and comfortable with getting through this process so that there is not a delay or a gap moving forward.
Yeah. So obviously that's something that is always in transition, like just looking at different things, the way clients are receiving what you have to offer. So, working with clients and meeting their needs is always a challenge, and that's what you want to be able to overcome very quickly for them, because you're offering a solution by bringing people that they want to interview. So how can you make it easier for them to make that connection? Right. That's great. So so that's a pretty tall order of business.
It is. I have a couple of ideas, and I've got some really smart minds kind of gathered around me to see if we can make it even smarter and make it something that would be useful. But at the end of the day, it's just touching base with people. It's saying, hey, I know where you're at. I'm in the same place. How can I help you move forward? Being that type of consultant person where you're just the listening ear, really. It's not me spouting advice. It's just me listening to my clients. Everybody's struggling. I have friends who are in similar spaces and colleagues and peers who, together we're just, hey, what do you think about this email? Like, we got to get selling again soon. Like, is this too much? Is it too early? Is it time yet? So it's really just kind of gathering and trying to stay with the folks to just say, we're here. And if you need us, the market is flooded with candidates right now. So they're out there and they're anxious. Just like everybody else, they were probably termed or furloughed or laid off, rather rapidly. Maybe their contracts ended early. So just being on both sides. Hey, if you got laid off and you need a resume review, let me know. I'll give you a hand, I'll give you some pointers. And for the employers, like really, if you have the capacity to hire and move forward, let's talk about what those struggles are and how to overcome them, because now is the time. The talent in the market right now is absolutely insane. I almost wish that we weren't struggling with some of the COVID things that we are, honestly, because some of these recs, like you're like, oh, I have cherry pickings for candidates, which, and again, you know, in a perfect world that wouldn't be there because they'd still be at their current roles, or most previous roles, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. You know what? And I want to end it there because you just totally described the human side of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's really about understanding both your clients and the people that you're representing and helping them finding jobs and coming from a place of compassion by being in the middle. It's kind of like the middleman, but you're understanding both sides, which is amazing. And I love that about what you do. So good luck. Best of luck. I know that you're going to do amazing things and you have such a great support system to help you along the way. And if there's anything I can do, please let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Only great people like you. That's how HumanTeq has made it thus far, and that's how we'll continue. So I appreciate you taking the time, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, we'll keep telling people all about you because I know you do amazing things and you treat people like gold. So I think there's so much value in that and what you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
So remember to subscribe to 30 Second Success Connect for more videos and share us with your friends.